time from Montreal, Canada. I'm Barry Anderson. Well, here we are. I enjoyed that show that I did with Rino Magi, known as Rino Magi. I thought that was fun and exciting and informative for some of our listeners who like to find out what's going on in the court system, the administration of justice. I'll tell you something, if you listen to this show often, you're going to find out that I criticize a lot of things. And one of the things that I'm really upset about is the waste of time and money in the courthouse. I mean, I get to court, and you're supposed to be there either at 9 or 9:30, depending on which courtroom, and time is wasted. People are standing around. The first thing you learn in law, if you take law, is how to make a date, to make a date, to make a date. These guys are terrific at making dates. Rino, in his case, with all of the lawyers, I was there watching in the hallway, standing like a wallflower, trying to mind my own business because I wasn't involved. And it seemed like the lawyers were walking up and down with tin cups trying to collect money from their clients. They were going after the Catroni factors, and they were going to get disclosure, and they were going to get a stay of proceedings because of the delay, and they were going to demand that this thing be charged in Canada instead of the United States. And of course, the innocentes, they weren't necessarily innocent, but they were. They didn't know better, and they had to trust their lawyers. And now you're dealing with 8 years of between legal fees and stress, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm not saying that many of these people deserve even worse than that. But the fact is that we're talking about rights in a court of law in this country, in the United States, and what gives and what doesn't give. And I'm going to put on, as soon as I finish yakking here, I'm going to load up the audio of that phone call that was made by Franco Shiro. It starts kind of quietly because Franco Shiro calls the office of Lindsay in California. Ellen is her name, Ellen Marcus Lindsay. She's special for doing telemarketing cases, telemarketing frauds and whatnot. And when Shiro phones up, he's arguing politely, but he's asking the secretary for the number of the prosecutor, the phone number. And the receptionist is saying, well, I'll connect you. Hey, give me your number. I used to have her number. I've called a few times before. And she said, I can't give that number. No, give me the number. I've called before. I've spoken to her a couple of times. Anyway, finally he gets connected with the prosecutor, and she sounds pretty good on the phone. And she's the kind of a prosecutor that anybody would want, protecting their grandparents or their children. She wants criminals to pay for their crime, and she wants victims to be defended, and admirably so. She sounds like a kind of a person that if I met her, and I don't mean this in a bribery way, I'd buy her a lunch or a supper and a glass of wine, because she sounds to me like a real decent person who's trying to do her job. But she's limited in the facts that when she's dealing with a Canadian case, she's got to take the evidence collected by the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or the Quebec Provincial Police, or the Montreal Police. And these guys sometimes will lie like carpets. They couldn't care less. And in Rino's case, I've read some of the papers that are so badly distorted to the prosecutor. I mean, she's got a vision of Rino and Tony that is just horrible, and it was provided by our government. It's just not fair. She's got a pre-assumed prejudice. And then on top of that, she finds out that Rino's lawyer had been recording her at least once, and Rino knows for a fact that he heard this other recording that is now claimed to not be real. Kevin Power had heard it replayed a week later, that recording that Rino wants. Rino didn't want the one that was given to him. It's no big help. What you're going to hear when the recording comes on is Franco Shiro finally gets in touch with the prosecutor, and they exchange pleasantries, and then Franco Shiro goes on as hard as he can to try to say that his client, Kevin Power, deserves a real break, not like that guy Magi, not like that guy Magi. And he had no right to do that. He was making Magi out to be a bad guy when it's clear by John Bellini from the beginning he was originally arrested and let go like everybody else. And he always said that Rino had a tiny little bit. At the very end, Rino had a problem with alcohol and drugs back in those years, over 8 years ago. And during a bad time in his life just before Christmas, according to the evidence and the allegations, and he got involved in some stuff for a period of 5 days that he shouldn't have been involved in. And there's no doubt that if in fact all of those things are true, then something should be done. But the question is, what do you do when you got lawyers that are making phone calls like this, aggravating the hell out of the prosecutor in California, trying to blame the victims? The victims were blamed. You're going to hear this recording where Franco Shiro is telling the prosecutor that the victims were silly to have even sent money. What's wrong with them? And of course, she gets furious. And you're not supposed to have a defense lawyer, whether he was working for Kevin Power or Rino Magi or Donald Duck at that time. The fact is that a prosecutor doesn't want to get pumped up and argued with by a defense lawyer, downplaying and making nonsense out of these charges, which in essence were very, very serious. And during that discussion, of course, it becomes a question, well, some of the victims have committed suicide, and Shiro's laughing that off. And you're quite welcome to listen to this audio. I don't know if it belongs to Rino. I don't know if it belongs to Kevin Power. All I know is that the court ordered it given to Rino. His lawyer gave it to him. It looks like it may not have been his because he wasn't his lawyer at the time, but those are things that should have been worked out by Michael Stober. Michael Stober's the judge. He knows all about ethics. He knows about the bar, but I think he was afraid at the time of the hearing that perhaps if he did what might have been the right thing, because he kept saying to Rino, you could go to the bar, you could go to the bar, you could go to the bar. Well, everybody tells you where to go. Everybody tells you to go and see somebody else, and nobody will help you with what the real reason while you're there. And the reason that you're there is you want to have a look at all of the evidence. You want to get any recordings that you paid for of the prosecutor talking to your lawyer. And I think that Kevin Power has every right in the world to be adamant that his recording never should have been given away. And I don't know how he can deal with that. My understanding is that Franco Shiro is no longer his lawyer, and that his lawyer is an associate of Franco Shiro, because these lawyers send each other. I know that the lawyer that represented Franco Shiro at his hearing in front of Stober put in these two affidavits concerning Rino. These affidavits, that means sworn under oath, that contained a bunch of gratuitous remarks that have no business in a court of law. And I was shocked that Stober didn't cut a slice off of her for talking about Rino's medical and emotional situation. These are private things. These never should have been revealed by an associate of Franco Shiro. And if the Superior Court judge is powerless to do anything about it, even after listening to this audio, if he can't straighten out what's going on, if somebody can't see that there's a tremendous violation of rights for Kevin Power and Rino Magi, if that judge, Michael Stober, couldn't see it, I don't know. It seems to me maybe the Court of Appeal or Supreme Court of Canada, where the television, the media, and the newspapers. The journal called La Presse, it's a big newspaper in Montreal, a very intellectual type newspaper, daily newspaper. They covered it, and they said that Magi said this and Shiro said that, and the judge didn't know what to think. He seemed to be lost, and that's my position. But anyway, for my listeners out there, if you call in Barry Anderson Show, all one word, BarryAndersonshow @gmail.com. Maybe I'll load up the whole hearing that was done by Stober himself, and you can get a view at what justice is, and you can turn around and make your own decisions if you get into a legal situation. I know that you can't ask me for help, because if you're not a member of the bar, then you're not allowed to make papers for anybody or practice law or give legal advice. And I have been threatened by Superior Court judges, and particularly prosecutors, who think they're smart, except they won't arrest me because my record, they've been bothering me like they bothered Tony Magi. They've turned around and they've gone after me. They charged me with this bomb making in 1993. In essence, the bomb was made by them. I couldn't get bail because I was talking to their agent on the phone. Well, the police records show that it was the police who told him to phone me, and it was the police who knew I was under wiretap. And when he called me about the bomb, it's obvious I knew nothing about it. But I couldn't get bail, and he was getting $550 cash, tax-free, a week. And he got let off on 32 burglaries in 1993. And then the Crown bought Robert Lalone, my former brother-in-law and best friend, and they let him off on 32 charges, including having a homemade gun and having stolen a gun and being involved in credit card fraud and burglary and prescription theft and all kinds of things. And Robert Lalonde was rewarded. They dropped 32 charges against him to come after me, and I got acquitted. Did the trial in chains and handcuffs in front of a jury. And then he turned around and I got charged with assaulting a guy, and I was acquitted on that. In between, I was charged with making a threat against the Montreal Gazette newspaper, and I didn't make a threat against the Montreal Gazette. And they used that as a grounds to search my house. The police came to my house. They opened Canada Post mail delivered to me without my permission. I made a complaint in front of the Police Ethics Commission, and they ended up demanding I produce my letter and the contents of it, photocopied it, and gave a copy to Mark Banty, the lawyer for the Gazette. And I had fought with Mark Banty before in court, because when I was charged with the Gazette threat, I ended up that Jeff Baker was the reporter, and he was on the stand, and his job was to tell the judge that, yes, I had told him many times about my case. Well, he covered my case. I was covered by 3 newspapers and a couple of TV stations. And it got a lot of press because I ended up getting acquitted. And in spite of all of those things, we turn around and Jeff Baker warned me that a high-ranking Montreal police officer had called him, Jeff Baker, the reporter. They had called him and told him, don't do the Anderson story. Very much like this guy, Lieutenant Paletti, was telling Frank Shiro not to take that murder case. And so these things are very embarrassing before the court. And the judge didn't want him to answer the question. Mark Bandy of the Gazette didn't want Jeff Baker to answer the question. The prosecutor didn't want Jeff Baker to answer the question. And we spent 20 minutes debating it because I insisted it was a legal question. And he was in the grounds he could answer whether he had told me that. And finally, of course, after fighting with 2 lawyers and the judge, finally the judge said, okay, yeah, but it doesn't prove it happened. But he can't answer the question. And he answered the question, and Jeff Baker, the Montreal Gazette reporter, said under oath in court, yes, a high-ranking Montreal police officer had called him up and told him not to carry the Anderson story. And the Anderson story's never been carried. Well, now we've got this Magi business going on here, and they're crucifying him like they tried to crucify his brother. And when they turn around, when the authorities can't prove wrongdoing, it's like they go crazy. And they're getting slimier and slimier with their actions, slimier and slimier with their rats. There's no shortage of people that are willing to go state's evidence. But this phone call here, a defense lawyer to a prosecutor in California, I hope you enjoy it and write to me afterwards. This has been Barry Anderson from Montreal, Canada. Stay in. The recording's next.
Yes, attorney's office.
Yes, hello. Would it be possible to have Miss Ellen Lindsay's phone number, please?
I can't give out her extension, but I can transfer you.
I'm an attorney.
I'm sorry, I can't give out her extension.
Okay, I need to speak to her. My name is Franco Shiro. I'm an attorney. Or can you have her...
I can forward you to her.
Okay, but you won't allow me to have her number? I had it before. I'm just calling because I misplaced her number, ma'am. My name is Franco Shiro. I'm an attorney from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. She knows me.
I'm sorry, she's the only one that can give out her extension.
Okay, can you please transfer me to her?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, Miss Lindsay.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine.
I'm a stranger from far, far away, Franco Shiro, attorney.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Good, yourself? Am I catching you at a bad time?
No.
No?
Nope.
I thought you were just about to leave the office. What time is it there now?
It's 4:15. I got
okay.
a while.
We're 7:15. We're late. It's night here.
Yeah.
I was calling you with regards to our file with Mr. Powers.
Yes.
I looked at it. We make him seem like a bigger criminal than he is.
Mhm.
Would you be willing to let him at least go?
Let him go?
Well, let him go. Yeah, he's a little nobody. Maybe a fine or something.
No.
Compared to the other people in there. Nothing? You're not open to anything?
Which one do you represent?
Power.
Which Kevin Power or John Power?
Kevin.
You know what is a really good thing to do? And
come to
people,
you?
What?
Come to you in California?
Not
I wouldn't
quite.
mind.
You can go in and see Yves LeBlanc, and he'll give you a nice little presentation on just what your guy did.
Yeah, but he didn't do a lot.
Okay, well, you can, if you feel that's true, then you just keep thinking that way, because I think he's a really bad telemarketer.
Well, unless I don't have everything. From what I was given, it was very little. I don't know what else there is. Maybe you know more than I do. Sorry, I have a little cough. So, listen, compared to what I've read and what I've seen the other guys do, he's nothing. You've seen the evidence, right? Like,
well, I have seen the evidence, but to be honest with you, I haven't reviewed Kevin Power's part in it.
It's like I've gone through it. Whatever was given to me, I don't know. You know.
What do you have? You have the indictment, right?
Yeah, the indictment and some transcripts. Not very much, just transcripts of certain conversations. Where supposedly my client's involved.
Mm-hmm.
He's nothing compared to the rest. Like who was that? There was Pizza Man Bellini. There was Magi.
I think he was, actually.
He was.
Yeah. So I think the best thing for you to do is to make an appointment with Yves, and you can bring your client in, and he can sort of lay it out for you a little bit better, so you have a better idea of what the evidence is against your guy.
Okay. But listen, even worst case scenario, what are these guys looking at? If you take them to the States, how is it going to help? This is what I'm looking at. How is it going to help society?
It's going to get scum like him off the earth.
Scum like who?
Like your client. Have you listened to some of the conversations? Do you know what he was doing to old people?
So if he's scum, what's going to happen to Magi in jail?
Well, the problem with Magi is that he did not do this particular type of telemarketing for as long as your guy did.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, it's all kind of a matter of each individual as far as the scheme that we've charged.
I understand, but the role of each individual is kind of different. And if you look at importance-wise, if you look at Powers a little guy compared to Magi. If Powers,
and Magi would say he's a little guy compared with Powers. So,
but what would happen to these guys? They go to jail in the States.
Yes.
What is it going to help society? What are they going to do in jail?
Well, as a matter of fact, the fact that people like your client are getting real, genuine jail terms in the United States has proved an actual deterrent to the criminal activity up there, which otherwise was running rampant. And so, actually, putting somebody like your client behind bars saves a whole lot of old people from the destruction of their lives and the loss of their retirement money. So I think it's a pretty good thing, actually.
Yeah, but do you look, these guys, these old people, even if they're old, they have to be naive. Who's going to come and tell you, hey, you just won a lotto, send me money? They have to be also naive.
So you're blaming the victim for what your client did to them?
I'm not blaming them.
Okay, he takes advantage of people who are losing it, who are in the beginning stages of dementia, which makes him a worse criminal. I mean, it's pathetic what he did. It's disgusting and disgraceful.
They go to jail. What are they going to do in jail? What's going to happen?
I don't care what they're going to do in jail. They have to be punished for what they did to people.
But they won't
It's going to deter them from doing it to other people. It's going to stop them from still doing it.
It won't punish them. Sending them to jail will not hurt them. You know what hurts
them? Well, you know
what?
We're just going to have to argue about that.
Money.
I have a very different philosophical outlook than you do. You seem to think this is a big nothing, and I don't.
No, I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong, Miss Lindsay. I'm not saying it's a big.
Well, what do you want? You want your guy to get a little fine and go away for what he did? Would you like to see some victim impact statements?
No.
Would you like to know that a lot of people who have been subjected to this kind of thing commit suicide, or simply are so depressed that they just kind of give up on life?
Okay, but has there been anybody that's committed suicide?
Oh, hell yes.
Yes? Who?
Well, I do not give out personal, private names of people who have been through it, but in my experience,
Okay, but no,
doing
file.
these cases,
In this file.
in this file,
Did anybody commit suicide?
I am not sure.
Okay.
So just because this kind of crime, because, you know, your guy didn't particularly cause this reaction, I think if you want to have a clue about the case, you should talk to Yves LeBlanc.
Listen, I'm even willing to come down there and sit down, because probably Yves LeBlanc doesn't have everything, you know?
Yes, he has. What he has
is everything
is an encyclopedic knowledge of the case, and what he's done for other defendants is he's put together a presentation of evidence regarding your particular client, whoever it may be.
Mr. Power.
Right. And he would, and you could bring Mr. Power in too. You don't want to bring Mr. Power down here, or he'll be arrested.
No, I'll come there.
That's not going to, it's going to do you a lot better to go and talk to Eve.
But you know what? If I can have the evidence that you have against Mr. Powers, the complete one, because I don't know if I have the complete one, or I'm just I think I just have a portion that was given to me. You know, so.
No, but why don't you let, you know.
Well, Yves LeBlanc give me something that I can read before going there. I'll read it. Then
You've read it. You've read the indictment.
Yeah, but the indictment is not enough. It's not.
Okay, look, I'm offering this to you.
Yeah.
I have no obligation to provide you with anything.
No,
I'm telling you, I'm doing you a favor. I'm going to have you go in there. He'll give you the rundown, and then what you want to take with you, he'll give.
I agree. I agree with you, and I know that you don't have to give me everything, okay? And I'm not. I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me, and it's not. Don't get me on the wrong side. That I don't think that these people should not, you know, be. If they did anything, whoever it is, they should be punished, but to a certain extent. If you send somebody to jail, and you know this person's gonna, you know, it's gonna stop him from doing what he did, okay? I agree with you. I fully agree with you saying, yes, let's do it. But how is this going to help society? How is this going to help these individuals? What hurts?
Make that argument to the court, because it's not going anywhere with me.
I know, but what, okay, what?
I mean, seriously, getting these people off the street is one of the best things I could do for society, and it has had an actual deterrent effect on other people, because they hear about guys like your client going to jail, and they think twice about it, whereas before they came to the States, nobody cared. Because Canada wasn't going to do shit about it.
No, Canada, if you tell them to do about it, they will.
No, they won't.
How come the RCMP is working, knows more of the file than the police in the States, probably?
Because the case agent happens to be a Mountie who investigated the case. After he was done investigating it, he brought it to me to prosecute, and it's our victims who are being harmed.
Okay, but why didn't he bring it to the prosecutor here in Canada?
Because it's our victims who are being harmed, and you guys have a lot of trouble prosecuting these kinds of cases because it's very difficult to get the victims there. The money isn't there for these types of prosecutions. It's just we know how to do it down here.
It's not that. If he would have taken it to a prosecutor here, if there's a conspiracy here, no matter where the victims are.
Well, that's not how it happens. There's an indictment here. If your guy wants to face it, fine. If you want to have, you know, a presentation of evidence, that's fine. But what you're doing is you're calling me and you're saying, my guy was a little fish. Give him a fine. It's not going to do any good to send him to jail. That's not getting anywhere with me. Now, so if you want to go further with it, then
what happens? Listen, now we're at this stage. There's no extradition yet. What are you willing to do at this stage now as a settlement versus them coming there? Is there a better deal now than after?
Usually I'm willing to give somebody some credit for coming down, but because I haven't looked at the circumstances of your client, I'm not really ready to actually put forth an offer, but I could probably do that tomorrow or the next day.
Okay. Now, I know Bellini, Pizza Man. He pleaded guilty down there, right?
Yes.
He's doing time?
Well, he hasn't been sentenced yet.
Okay, he hasn't been sentenced yet.
No.
Okay. Now, there was when what was because there was when he entered his plea, he had to basically agree to certain facts, which is called a statement of facts. I don't know if it's called the same thing down there.
Yes.
Okay, that was read to him.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in that, we did not only specify what Bellini did, but usually we specify who else other was involved with Bellini or Pizza Man, right?
We don't do that. Generally,
Okay.
we don't name other defendants in our factual bases.
Okay. So there was no conspiracy for him.
He did not plead guilty to a conspiracy count. He pled to a scheme count.
Okay.
But we just generally in the factual basis we just say others.
Okay. Now
we don't name names.
Okay. Does Mr. LeBlanc have a copy of that statement of facts? Would it be possible for me to have one?
Unfortunately, it was filed under seal.
Under seal, so it's not
available.
available.
So it's not. But it is not. It does not.
Okay. Can it be unsealed?
No, not really.
Why not? At your request, the judge would not unseal it, or the court would not unseal it?
I don't want to unseal it.
Why?
Because the plea agreement is under seal.
Yeah,
at the request of certain parties, it's under seal.
Okay, by which
and
parties?
I don't see any positive benefit to unsealing it. Why do you want his Bellini statement of facts?
Because Bellini is involved, and I think that if there's nothing to basically hide, it's the truth. I want to know what's Bellini's implication with regards to my client, and in comparison to them.
Your client's name is not mentioned anywhere in Bellini's
I know,
agreement.
but if Bellini is one of the most important people, that statement of fact with Bellini, to basically judge what sentence should be given to my client, well, to me, that would help in saying, Your Honor, this is what Bellini pled guilty to doing. This is what Bellini...
Oh, well, the statement of facts isn't really what's going to give you that.
Well,
I mean,
no,
I'd be willing to let you know what the guidelines calculation is in that case, although I think there are certain things, there may be certain areas where
Okay, but...
we left stuff open.
Have you... Example, my guy... my guy, okay, compared to Bellini, compared to Magi, you know what the other two have done, Bellini, Magi?
Well, see, the problem with Magi is that the greatest part of his culpability is not in the case that I charged.
I don't understand.
That I charged a certain kind of telemarketing fraud, the lottery scam, and that Magi came to that a little late, like just at the very end. He was doing some other stuff, and that stuff is being charged in Canada.
What stuff is being charged in Canada?
There were some boiler rooms, grants and loans, and office supply stuff.
Okay, so there's charges pending in Canada?
No, there's going to be.
There's going to be charges in Canada against Magi. Okay. So how come Magi's not requested for the States?
He is.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just got a little less. I mean, it's like, for example, Andreopolis. He got a really great deal.
Just hold on. I think my phone is interfering.
No, that's my phone. That's
it's your phone?
My phone.
You have a Fido phone?
No, I'm talking on a headset, and my BlackBerry sometimes makes
interferes. Okay, I thought it was my phone. I was going to shut it off.
So, Andreopolis, for example, is a very, very culpable, very guilty person, but just not in our case. He just had a tiny part of our case. So he didn't get a high sentence or anything because his part in this case is small. Okay. Very, very small.
What sentence did he get?
He got probation.
He got probation?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Andreopolis. Okay. So in this case, you're telling me that my guy, a little guy,
Stop saying that.
Okay, no, but to me, if I do a comparison, Magi's probably going to get a probation too.
No.
And my guy's going to get
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. What's Magi's implication?
Well, we haven't. It's not finally decided yet.
It's not decided. Because
We haven't reached a
my
plea
guy's
agreement.
like really little. He seems like a peanut. Hello?
Hello.
Did I lose you?
No, but you've said that before, and it's just so annoying.
Okay. Well, I'm not here to annoy you. So I guess
I mean,
I guess they're both. I guess they're either both big or both small. I don't know. It's a different perspective. I'm not disrespecting you just because I have a different opinion, colleague. I don't want to get you angry. I'm not here to disrespect you either. You know, we might have different opinions, but I still respect you. Hello?
Hello?
Are you gonna hang up on me there?
No. I'm just waiting for you to say something that I need to respond to.
Okay. No, but listen, am I catching you at a bad time? You don't seem as cheery as the other times.
I'm a little distracted, and I just think it's getting old. This, oh, he's such a little player. Oh, he didn't do anything wrong. What good is it going to do to send him to jail? It's going to do a lot of good.
Okay, listen.
It's a terrible crime.
Okay.
A horrible, nasty.
Okay, even if I agree with you to say it's a horrible crime and everything, nobody's dead. There's people that might have problems that financial.
Don't go down that road with me.
No, but I'm not.
Because you will really, really piss me off.
I don't want.
If you think that there's not a major consequence to this kind of crime, you're sadly mistaken.
I'm not saying there's no major consequence.
Okay,
but
then
different gravities.
Stop it right now.
There's different gravities.
This is a huge gravity. Huge gravity.
Mm-hmm.
People who are victimized by this crime have physical, emotional, mental, financial issues for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm not saying that that's not the case.
Okay, then stop it right there. If you're going to say, "Oh well, it's not. They're not dead." Okay, fine. It's not murder.
No, but you know what I say? When there's life, there's hope. When there's health, there's hope. If you don't have your health, you can have all the money in the world.
Yes, but this crime takes people's health, and that I can tell you over and over and over and over. Over and over and over.
Mm-hmm. Okay, listen. From what I got, from what I can understand, there's maybe 50 victims. Is that it, or is there more? And maybe it's anywhere between 1 million to 2 million.
That is just basically from the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think of this crime as running for several years, and a long-time telemarketer like your client, we don't even know the true number of victims or loss.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is what we have documented is a very, very small portion.
Okay, but in terms of time, what would my client be looking at?
Like I said, I'm not really prepared to go into that right now because I don't really remember what's going on with your guy.
As we say in French, une ordre de grandeur, like an idea just to guide me.
No.
Not even.
No, I told you, later this week I can get that to you.
Okay. So how was your Rosh Hashanah?
I didn't do anything because I'm a bad Jew.
Why?
Because I don't practice.
Oh, you don't practice?
Nope.
You converted to what?
I didn't convert. I just don't practice.
Oh, okay. So anyways, I was going to wish you a Happy New Year, a late
Happy
New Year.
You can wish me a Happy New Year if you want. Let me call Eve, and I think it would be a really good idea for you to go in and get a better perspective on what the crime is about.
And if certain individuals, example, agree, like the majority agree to be extradited and to come there, is there my client or any of the others that you would be willing to spare, or you want them all?
I want them all.
You want them all?
Yeah.
You're not willing to negotiate anything anyway?
No.
Like leave a little fish and take the big fish, or vice versa?
I didn't indict any little fish.
No?
Nope. They're all bad.
I agree with you on that. But we send them to jail. What are they going to do in jail, these guys?
I don't care what they do in jail.
Okay. It's not positive. They're going to come out, and they're going to just continue on doing worse things. I was a prosecutor here in Montreal, okay? And not because I don't agree, yes, but we're animals, right? We're like supposedly intelligent animals, supposedly. But
Uh-huh.
you know what? I understood one thing, that by being rough and by hitting them, they just become more ferocious. It's like an animal. If you want a dog or a cat to do what you want it to do, what do you do? Do you beat it, or do you give it treats when it does what you want it to do? We're supposedly, sometimes we say that we're the most intelligent animals. Sometimes I disagree with that. Sometimes we're not as human
I
beings.
think you have to be a really sick, fucked up animal to do what your client did.
So basically, all of them are sick, fucked up
Somebody who
individuals.
can get on the phone with an elderly
Mhm.
person who's in the initial stages of dementia and take their money
Mhm.
is pretty sick. I cannot imagine any other explanation for the ability to do that. It's not like a bank robbery where a poor person goes in there with a note because they're desperate, or even a drug dealer who's never known any other thing in their life. This is somebody who actually has contact with somebody who is in a bad way and just steals and lies and does whatever possible to take away any security that person has. I cannot imagine
So what do we
being mentally
what
healthy and doing that.
what do we have to do to these people?
You have to protect society from them.
And sending them to jail is protecting society.
Yes. For the time that they're in there, it's the best I can do.
Hmm. Nothing else? You know?
Anything else for these people is a joke.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to sit in there, they're going to eat, they're going to play cards, and they're not going to do anything positive, anything constructive. I see it here. What do? They don't do anything constructive. They drink, they smoke up, they throw parties. It's not what it's doesn't actually. I see people go in, come out, and they come out worse than what they went in. And they're not an asset for society in any
This
nature.
guy's not an asset for society.
Well, he's working. They're all working, the majority of them. For example, I was reading up because I hear Magi has a construction company. A portion is working, productive, brings in, has employees. Powers is working too. He works building. So it's okay. They're not that bad of individuals. Maybe everybody's allowed to make mistakes in life. Some bigger than others, right? We all make mistakes at a different degree, one point or another. Some of us are lucky to make smaller ones. That's all. Hello?
Hello, I'm just taking notes.
Yeah, right. You're probably just swiveling a pen or something. You're not listening to me, are you?
I just think you're completely full of shit.
I'm full of shit?
I think you're completely full of shit.
Okay, listen.
But
it's okay.
if you have some actual facts at hand,
Mm-hmm.
that's a different story. So
yeah, but if I don't get them, you're the one who can give me the facts. Nobody else but
that's
you.
why I'm saying go talk to Yves. He's the best source. And he's right there in Montreal, and you don't have to spend money to come down here.
Okay, but will Yves give me documents I can read? I don't need a presentation. I like to read. When I went to university, I didn't even go to my classes. I'd read my books and write my exams. So I'm not the type of person who's going to sit there and listen to somebody tell me.
Well, maybe we can put together a little package for you. Let me talk to Yves, and I'll get back to you a little later this week, okay?
Okay, is it going to be a complete package or just a little package?
I don't know. All right?
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
I'll get back to you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.